Parliamentary sessions in South Africa often unfold with predictability, sometimes even bordering on dull. But on this particular day, that illusion shattered within minutes. What unfolded was not a debate in the traditional sense, it was a showdown. The atmosphere was tense, the kind of tension you could almost taste in the air, thick, heavy, unspoken. Members of Parliament sat upright, papers rustling lightly, whispers darting between benches. Beneath that thin layer of order, everyone sensed it, something was coming. The chamber was a tinderbox, waiting for a spark. That spark came from ANC MP Tabo. He didn't ease into his words or circle the issue. He rose with the confidence of a man carrying live ammunition, his voice slicing quietly but firmly through the chamber. "Honorable Mima," he began, "South Africans deserve to know. What business did you have in Nigeria? Who hosted you? Who paid for your travel? Were you serving the people or serving yourself?" The chamber froze. Head spun. The weight of his questions hung in the air, each one sharper than the last. In that moment, time itself seemed to slow. A politician was being ambushed, live, in front of the entire nation. And make no mistake, this was not a polite request for information. This was an attack, a carefully laid trap, a demand for answers that Julius Malema could not dodge without consequence. The ANC benches leaned forward, sensing blood in the water. Opposition MPs straightened in their seats, eyes sharp, eager to witness the clash. For South Africans watching at home, this was no longer Parliament. This was theatre, and Malema stood at the center of the stage. The question loomed. Would he explain himself, dodge the accusations, or erupt in fury? The tension was unbearable. The speaker called for order, but order was already slipping. What began as a parliamentary session was morphing into a battlefield, where reputations, alliances, and perhaps entire careers were on the line. At the very center of it all sat Julius Malema, silent for the moment, smiling, calculating. The silence that followed was not the silence of peace. It was the silence that comes before thunder cracks across the sky. Every eye in the chamber fixed on Malema. ANC benches leaned forward like hunters circling prey, while opposition MPs looked on with barely concealed anticipation. And then, slowly, deliberately, Malema rose to his feet. His red robes, the trademark armor of his party, seemed to glow beneath the lights. Adjusting his collar with calm precision, he scanned the chamber, and a sly smile crept across his face. When he finally spoke, his voice cracked through the tension like a whip. "You thieves," he declared, eyes burning across the ANC benches. "The ANC must stop pretending you are the guardians of transparency." Gasps and murmurs filled the room before silence fell again. Malema pressed forward, each word heavier than the last. "You cannot hold Eskom accountable. You cannot hold state capture accountable. You cannot explain why the people of South Africa suffer under your corruption. Yet you dare question my trip to Nigeria? No, you should sit down." The effect was electric. The chamber erupted. ANC MPs roared with fury, banging their fists on desks, their shouts drowning one another out. On the other side, EFF MPs retaliated with their own pounding rhythm, fists slamming open palms, voices rising into a thunderous wall of defiance. The speaker's desperate calls for order vanished into the storm. Malema was far from finished. Straightening his shoulders, he thundered, "My journey is none of your business. I need no permission from scoundrels to travel across Africa. My politics are Pan-Africanist, not confined to your rotten conference halls." His defiance only deepened the chaos. The chamber shook with fury. "Tell us who paid for your flight, Malema," voices demanded. Was it the Nigerian government, or shadowy funders? But Malema did not yield. Instead, he laughed. Not nervously, not softly, but a mocking laugh that echoed through the hall like a sneer. Shoulders shaking, his smile widened. Every second of his laughter was gasoline on open flame. "You are angry," Malema shouted above the noise, "because you are losing power. You are jealous because I am welcomed across Africa, while you are scorned even at your own rallies." The insult landed like a grenade. Chaos exploded. Some MPs leapt to their feet, jabbing fingers at Malema. Others shouted at the speaker, accusing him of shielding the opposition leader. For 20 minutes, Parliament dissolved into raw chaos. Insults flew, "Coward," liar, thief. The chamber echoed with overlapping voices, a chorus of rage and defiance. Finally, the speaker's patience cracked. His gavel came down like a judge's verdict. Order. Honorable members, your behavior is unacceptable. You are disrupting the work of this House. I now order you to leave. Gasps rippled across the benches. ANC MPs resisted, some refusing to rise. Security was called in, guards pouring into the chamber as chants of shame, shame, filled the air. EFF members erupted into songs of struggle, their defiant voices echoing off the walls, drowning out the speaker. At the center of it all, Malema stood smiling, almost triumphant. As security escorted members out, he delivered one last dagger. Next time, come with facts, not gossip. But the battle didn't end inside Parliament. It spilled into the streets, the media, and the homes of South Africans. ANC spokespeople fumed, declaring that the speaker had protected Malema from accountability. South Africans deserve to know who he met in Nigeria, and why, they argued. Secret meetings could shape our politics in dangerous ways. The EFF, however, declared victory. Once again, their spokesperson announced, "Our commander has exposed the ANC's desperation. They are frustrated. They are scared. They are falling apart. Malema is showing South Africans what leadership looks like." As the sun set over Cape Town, questions remained unanswered. Why was Malema in Nigeria? Who funded his trip? And what truly happened behind those closed doors? Secrets in politics rarely stay buried forever, and when they surface, they can topple empires. South Africans were left not with clarity, but with whispers, doubts, and the image of a parliament transformed into a battlefield. The chaos of that Tuesday was not the climax but the beginning, the opening act of a firestorm spreading across the nation. Every headline since has carried the same undertone: it's not over. On the streets, in cafes, in late-night WhatsApp chats, one question echoes louder each day. Will Julius Malema be cornered, forced to reveal the truth, or will this war escalate into a larger clash for control of South Africa's future? The next parliamentary session looms like a storm on the horizon. Tensions rise, anticipation grows. Everyone knows what's coming will not be routine debate. It will be war, of words, of strategy, of exposure. And perhaps the most chilling question remains: what if this scandal does not end with Malema? What if it drags others into the light, tearing open the hidden corridors of power, money, and influence? Tuesday's chaos was not an ending. It was a warning. A reminder that the story of South African politics is still being written, and the next chapter could reshape the very foundations of its fragile democracy.